beneficial for all of you. Along with that, we have Andy Thorpe, and we also have Carrie Gransberry, and then myself, Kelly Langley. We will be running the presentation, but if you have questions at any time on any given slide, we would appreciate it if you just raise your hand or speak up and unmute your mic, and you would be able to speak. If not, raise your hand and we'll ask the question. We would love for you to ask the questions as they come up. You're always welcome to ask the questions at the end of the training as well. This presentation will be available. Kelly will be sending out an email to everyone who participated, so you'll be able to have it as well, along with some of her cheat sheets, for lack of a better term. I think it'll make the budget process much easier for you this year. Thank you very much. Kelly.
Okay. Thank you. So this is for the 25-26 budget. And so first thing is we need 2 single-sided unbound hard copies sent to taxation. And if you could also send electronic copy to our email, that would be much appreciated. And this is just general. Budgets must be prepared for all funds except for the trust and agency funds. There should be a budget message is mandatory for cities and counties only. And then if you have an explanation, if your ending fund balance is less than 4% of the total actual previous year's expenditures for the general fund, just give us an explanation as to why. This is the table of contents. And it must be shown in the order that is shown. It has to be arranged in that order. And if every local government that has 10 or more pages, if you could list the page number. A lot of times we have to go look for a specific fund, and it would be easier if the page numbers, and make sure that they're updated. And Schedule 30 is not required for FY 25-26 budget. Any questions? So this is our Schedule 1. Insert your letterhead at the top. This is what we call our transmittal letter. The name of your entity goes in the first paragraph on the top right there. See, and we have a lot of checks and balances in the budget. So in paragraph 2, it record only the number of funds that require the property tax revenues and the total amount. And that should agree with Schedule A, column 3, total. So that's one way you can check yourself. In paragraph 4, the declaration of total expenditures must agree with the total of columns 1 through 4 on Schedule A1. And then right below that is where you record your proprietary funds, how many, and then the estimated expense totals, and that is from column 2 and column 4 of Schedule A2. Any questions? And this is the second half to the Schedule 1. And this one is important. Just know that the tentative budget must be signed by the person who has been assigned the responsibility for the budget preparation. The tentative budget does not need to be signed by the governing body, but when you send in your final budget, it has to be signed by the majority of the members of the governing body, and that is half plus 1. The bottom section is when, you have your scheduled public meeting. And sorry, that date should say the 19th. It's between May 19th and May 31st. It's not sooner than the third Monday in May and no later than the last day in May. And the notice in, the newspaper can't be in there more than 14 days or less than 7 days before the set date of the public hearing. This is the first thing that we look at when you bring in your budget. We want to know when your meeting is, and we make sure that the publication date matches the NRS. And we need to know this date so that we can get this done and looked at prior to your meeting. We have a deadline. Any questions?
One nice thing, I know Kelly mentioned earlier that it's important to provide the 2 hard copies. And then she said also, if you can PDF or send a PDF file to us, the date, if we receive that email, the day you're mailing it, we will actually note that you have submitted it. And so that date that we receive it on the email counts. So if you're mailing it on the last day, worried that it's not going to get there, just know that it's from, well, we use the mailing date, but we also will use your email as we have received it. So that's a benefit to the local governments as well.
Yes. And the reason that we ask that you put on the bottom of the form of the scheduled public hearing date is because when they all come in, we need to process them based on that hearing date, because we need to get the letters out 3 days prior. So, to the entities. So
And
that
also because with that public hearing date, if for any reason you choose a date that's outside of the third Monday in May and the end of May, if you make an error and choose it earlier, we notify you because we realize that that's going to change your publication as well, and you need to do that immediately. So we're trying to help you out there.
This is Annette Kerr from Elko. Can we go back up to the first slide for just a moment on the top part of this?
Okay.
So on paragraph 2, the budget contains blank funds. It says that number of funds that require property tax revenue. We've been including also, when we get sales tax and room tax as into our funds. So should that only be the one fund then?
Only the funds that have property tax only, and plus the debt service. Any other taxes do not go there.
So
Okay, go ahead.
So
The number of funds.
we have a total of 4 funds, and our ad valorem or property tax goes into the capital fund, and then the other funds like the consolidated tax, etc., and then the room taxes, we've been submitting those in our budgets. Is that not correct? Sorry about the noise in the background. We have construction going.
No problem. No. So, when we get to, a Schedule A,
Okay.
then I think it'll be more clear, because we have the different, revenues coming in different columns, so only the property tax is what goes there. So when we get to, Schedule A, maybe it'll become more clear.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the? This is the S1, and this is required only for counties and cities only. If you or any other, yeah, the checklist. So this is just for the counties and cities only, and this is a summary of your budget. It summarizes everything, and the information that's contained in this schedule must agree with the schedules A1, A2, B, and the F1 schedules, everything will be summarized here. And just make sure that, and I, wait, I think it's the next slide, sorry. And this is the second half to this. And so it kind of lets you know, like the beginning fund balance, column 3 should agree with column 1, total schedule A. And you're gonna get a agree with column 7, schedule A1. So there's a lot of checks and balances to see if that you're doing this right. And also on here, one way to double check, sorry, wrong, I got it in another note. Sorry. So you can add the total revenues plus the operating transfers in and the beginning fund balance should match your total on all funds on Schedule A. And then add total expenses, operating transfers out, and the ending fund balance. This amount should match the total all funds on Schedule A1. So there's a bunch of checks and balances that you can to make sure that your budget flows correctly. Any questions on the S1? This is the S2, and the S2 is kind of like a statistic page that kind of lets us know on the top you have your full-time equivalent employees, and do that for the prior year, the current year, and for the budget year. And then on the bottom part, put the population as of July 1st. And then if you get the source from the state, put that on there, that the source has come from the state. But if it comes from somewhere other than the state, if you could just put where are you getting your numbers? And then on the assessed valuation and net proceeds, the first 2 columns, you can get that from our red book. For those 2 years, you can also go to last year's budget and just move the numbers over also. The one for the budget year will be coming from our revenue projections publication that and use the one from March 15th, the final, and those numbers will go there. And the same with the tax rate. You can find that also in the revenue projections and the red book. Is there any questions on that page? This is the S3, and we're going to spend a little bit of time on the S3 because this is where we see a lot of errors, a lot of mistakes. Just know that the first 3 columns, those numbers we furnished for you in the projection, the revenue projection, the final on March 15th, and I put on there which column you're going to find that number. And so just copy them. There's no sense in doing all the calculations if it's already been done for you.
And you want to make sure you don't use the preliminary. You want to make sure
Yeah.
you use the final one.
Yeah, use the final, not the preliminary. So we are going to get out of the PowerPoint for a minute, and we're going to work on the schedule S3, and I'm going to show you let me know. Okay. And this is just a sample. This isn't anybody. Yeah, this doesn't belong to anybody. And, so I've already put in an assessed value. And I've also put in the property for the net proceeds or mines. Just note on this column, these are the only two numbers you need. You don't need to, put them all the way down, all the way down all the rows. It's not necessary. I have put in, the tax rates already and the first one's made up. This doesn't belong to anybody. So anyway, so what I'm going to show you is, and one of the mistakes that a lot of people make is,
Hold on one
if
second.
you notice the calculation on.
Can you hold on one
We
second?
need to share that, okay. Share.
Can you let us catch up with you?
Okay. Okay, we're trying to make sure you guys can see it.
I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna have you share, on that from your share. Yep.
Okay,
If you can let us know, if you can't see the file that Kelly is sharing now, it's kind of a cheat sheet, but she'll be able to walk you through the calculations to make this spreadsheet easier. Still not showing.
oh,
Okay,
Christina,
hey Christina, if you can come in and help us real quick.
The people who are on the teams, is there a button on the bottom of your thing that says continue following presenter?
oh, yeah,
Ours says resume following presenter.
yeah,
No, not on mine.
Okay.
Now it says following Kelly Graham.
For mine, it keeps asking me to sign into Teams and then I sign in and it tells me I don't have access. Error.
I'm just seeing a progress bar, like a hamster wheel going round and round.
says. Share it here.
Christina, would it help if I share it from the screen?
She's.
You want me to wait, Tatiana?
Yeah, I think it might be better if you try to share from the screen and not directly from the app.
So if I.
And I can share from here, I can share.
Here's screen. Here.
Oh, you went to a different.
I don't even know, like, well, like, you know, like.
Excel.
Here, Excel, okay, she. But I need to get back into that. Like, why it is.
Kathy has her IT on it as well, and she's saying that if we can press our share again, she thinks her people can fix the issue on her side. Which is what we did. Okay. See, it says resume following presenter live. that you should say yes to that. No, it's like why now? So we need to do. On. Okay, that should be fine. What's that? Are you guys able to see the screen now? For the slides? Are you able to see it now?
No, there's nothing.
That's what I was thinking. I want this page here, so I can click on it, right? Christina, I'm just asking. Go down and see if it's on there. Hold on. You want to hit share. Yeah, just it's reached. But I don't. Yeah, everyone's worked together. Yeah, now I want this. Yeah. Okay. Share. Yeah. Okay, now can you see it?
No, it just keeps prompting me to sign in to view it.
Not if I say share. It's, I don't know. This file is shared. Okay. It's saying people outside your organization can't see this. I don't know if there's a privacy setting. Okay, you have, yeah. Okay. Okay, well. Kelly will be able to.
Can you
walk
just
through.
share your screen? Can you just do like a share screen instead of a
Well,
shared app?
that's what we've been trying to do.
We've been trying to do and it's not letting us.
We're sharing it, but people outside of the state are not able to see it.
You know what we can do? Just drop this into the chat. Drop this into the chat. Open chat.
Same.
And then. Here. Yeah, here. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Hope you spare of it. I'm not sure. No, it's in my system. Thank you for your patience. Yeah. It worked this morning. That's a state. Yeah. Okay. We can walk it through, because you've got good notes to be able to walk through, I can use the cursor and tell them where and what that would be. Okay, I'll do that. We'll just go back to the PowerPoint. Sorry. No problem. Make sure we go back to the PowerPoint. That's mine. So, yeah. I need to go.
We'll just do it. There's nothing more. No. Now I gotta go. I'll be back into my browser. Oh, yeah, that was a good point. I should have put cut. It's like, sorry. Okay, we're grabbing the correct file. Again, bear with us. I apologize for the delay. Okay. So can everyone see the schedule S3 now on our screen? I want to make
Yes,
sure. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I was gonna do the calculations for you, but we'll have to do it a different.
Well, but when we send out the package, it will show, she has a couple pages that show how you can get this calculation. She's gonna walk through those calculations with you today. But,
I just want
the hard copy will be in the presentation package. Yeah.
Okay, so we have two different Schedule S3s. One is if you do not have any net proceed the minerals. And this one, you please use this one if you do not. And so it's much easier. So there's this one, and then this one has a couple extra columns, and that's to add the NPM. Okay, so what I was going to show you in the calculation. So when we calculate for column 5, so at the top of it says column 2, line A, and you use line A, it says valuation for every single row. So as I showed it, so it's the assessed value, times A, like straight across, and then divide it by 100, and then you'll get your numbers all the way down. So each one is assessed value times each tax levy divided by 100 will give you column 5. So, and like I said before, the only two numbers that need to be shown in column 2 is the assessed value and the NPM. You don't need to add that up or drag them all the way down to the end, because you're only going to use the assessed value for column 5. And then the NPM for column 8 when you get there.
And the whole point of this is to help clarify to people, because many times they try and do their tax rate or the amount that they're going to receive using the net proceeds, and we don't want you to do that. We want you to use your assessed value only.
Any questions on this so far? And then this one is showing, so when you, for the ones that have the NPM, then you do the same thing, but you're using the NPM number times each tax rate levy. And that will give you those numbers for column 8.
And one thing I just want to get was net proceeds is something that some entities choose to budget for, but since it's so volatile, there's a lot of them that just don't choose to budget for it. That way there wouldn't be a shortfall.
Exactly. And see, and I, in the PowerPoint, I will, this is what I was going to show you, but it wouldn't let us. The calculations for 5, 6, 7, and then I have 2. This is the one if you do not have no NPM, and then this other one shows you if you do have. So it had the calculations, so you'll have access to those when I send out the PowerPoint. And one of the things that, I was going to show you is so, you have all your tax rates levied and you have your total. Your total tax amount is at the bottom. And so the column that I have in yellow is not on the budget. If you, but I show you an easy, we get a lot of questions, well, how are we supposed to distribute our money? And how does this work? And so, I have a percentage of tax of the total tax rate on in yellow. So if you take the first column, an A, and you multiply out, you take the tax rate in A and divide it by the total tax rate at the bottom, right there. And then it will give you the percentage of the tax rate. And if you do that for every single one, you know, you take like each one and divide by the total. And if you do that in that last row, and you should get 100% when you're done. And that shows that you're using 100% of the tax, the total tax. And then it makes it easier, so when you go into column 7, so to distribute it, so then you take, okay, first before you do that, you put your pro forma number down at the bottom of 7, the total. Right, right, yeah.
See the column number, I'm trying.
That's okay. You put your pro forma number in there from column 15 from the pro forma that we sent to you March 25th. So then you go up to the first line, under 7. So if you multiply, put equals and multiply the percentage of the tax times the pro forma, and then you will get that percentage for, and then do that for every single one. And so it's being done off your percentage of your tax rate. And so if you get down to the bottom and then the subtotal, if you do it all correctly, that subtotal should match your total pro forma. And then sort of, and so then you have your 5, you have your 7, and 6 is 5 subtracting 7. And then you're done. So is there any questions on this? This should, I know this should make it a whole lot easier than trying to figure, okay, well, how much should I put here? How much should I put here? This is all done as a percentage of your total tax rate.
The benefit to using the pro forma and why we have to do that is the pro forma reflects the abatement. And so because that abatement is in your pro forma, you know, obviously if you have excess of the 3% or the 8% the caps, you're not going to be receiving 100% of that tax. So we show you how much has been abated, but the pro forma amount will take that abatement into consideration, if that makes sense. So, you know, we don't want you to budget for, you know, 100% of the tax dollars if it's some of it is being abated. And right now, throughout the state, everyone has abatement amounts because in general, between the assessed value increasing more than the cap rate allows, the 3 or the 8% of growth, that takes into consideration the growth, but your revenue is only allowed to grow by that percentage. So it abates everything else.
And if you don't have NPM, then you're done. You can go on to the next part. But if you do have, I've just added, we've talked about how we get our numbers for column 8. And for column 9, it just adds 7 and 8, column 7 and 8, and that's what's in column 9. And so, and then, so I will have, these are slides and all of this is just the formulas and hopefully, this is helpful. And hopefully it will make it easier for understanding, you know, your distribution part of the tax rate. And then if anybody, if I can, you know, if anybody needs help afterwards, you know, just give me a call or one of the budget analysts and we can walk you through this if you need more understanding.
Absolutely.
Any questions on this?
And at this time,
We go on. This is the Schedule A. All of the funds should be listed on, in the first column. And, Schedule A is the revenue side of your budget. Schedule A1 is the expenditures. So the order that you have your fund names on the Schedule A, put them in the exact same order on the Schedule A1. It makes it a whole lot easier for us because the total column 8 are supposed to match the total column 8 on Schedule A1. So it just makes it easier. And if you have a fund in your audit, then it should be here. And we're trying to get, you know, the audits to match the budget. Sometimes we'll have one that is a different name in the audit and a different name on the budget. If you could make them the same, that's really helpful. And on the property tax, this is what I was talking about. If your fund uses just property tax, it has its own column. If it's the consolidated tax revenue, it has its own column. And then we have other revenue. So, did that, answer your question? The previous person.
I believe in the beginning, they were asking on the transmittal page that how many, if they have only one fund that gets property taxes, say all the property taxes go in the general, do they list just the one fund or do they list all of their funds that they have here?
Yeah.
They might have 20 funds here. And so do they say we have 20 funds? The way in which that sentence states is you have blank number of funds, so maybe do say 20 with property taxes with this amount.
Yeah.
So, but you do want to list all of your number of governmental funds. Maybe you have 15 funds here. Maybe it's, 150. You want to say how many funds you have in your governmental and then what the tax revenue is. If maybe your property taxes, not C-tax, sorry. Your property tax goes in your general fund and then you have a couple other funds listed here. You want to use the total of your property taxes. This should total your transmittal page.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah,
I hope that helps clarify the
Yeah.
question that was asked earlier.
yeah, so just the, like the note on the bottom, total all funds must agree with the paragraph 2 on Schedule 1 transmittal letter. That first part is just asking for the property tax and the debt, and that is it, and the debt service. If you have the consolidated, it does not go on there. They have other revenue, even if it's taxes, it does not go on there.
It's just this. And then I think it's paragraph 4, and I don't have a page in front of me, but
This is revenue.
right, second. Well, I was gonna say this proprietary right here too. So give proprietary here in the total and the property taxes for that.
And then remember that the total column 7 and total column 5 on Schedule A2 should agree to the total transfers on Schedule T. And
Operating transfers. These are your operating transfers in, and those should total the same amount as your Schedule T. Yeah.
any questions on the Schedule A? Okay, and this is the Schedule A1. Like I said, Schedule A is revenues, Schedule A1 is the expenditures. And there's only 4 objects, salaries and wages, employee benefits, service and supplies, and capital outlay. We don't, there's not a column for, utilities, overhead, none of it. There's just those 4. And we'll see more when we go to the fee schedules. And
And
this,
that's very clear in the direction as well.
yes. Yeah. And, the totals of column 2 through 5 should agree to the estimated expenditures showed in paragraph 4 on schedule 1. So this is where you put, and on paragraph 5, this is where you put like however many funds you have, the not the proprietary ones. So you might have, some people have 2, some have, 50 funds. That's where it goes in paragraph 4 with how much, and how much are you going to budget for spending. And again, column 8 on schedule A and column 8 on schedule A1 should match. And please put them in the same order. Makes it so much easier. Any questions on either of these 2 schedules?
Just join us.
No, they will chat. It was a question.
Intergovernmental transfers, does that go in column 5?
The transfers, yes. Or no, 5, 6. The transfers go on the schedule A1 go in 6.
But,
Can I clarify? I have, this is Helen from Nye County. I have transfers that I make to, another Nye County entity like town, that has their own budget. So it's not within this budget. So we'll transfer something out to town of Amargosa or something. And they have their own budget. So that's what I'm asking specifically is where does that end up? Which column? Because that's not a transfers in and out within this budget.
Okay, so if it's, so it would be an expense for you.
Yes,
So no, would it be under the transfers? It would probably be under, let me see your other one, sorry. Under service and supplies and other charges, it would probably go under there.
okay.
Helen, I'm not sure you received that money going into the county and then transferring it out. Because it should be shown as only on their budget, the intergovernmental entity.
Right.
As other revenue accounts, as revenues, so it should be showing theirs as revenue. Yours, you shouldn't be showing it as revenue and then a transfer out.
Yeah, so we have both situations where we'll receive money, a transfer from one of the towns, and then sometimes we transfer money for different situations to the town. So we have transfers in and transfers out intergovernmentally within Nye County. I mean, yeah, with the towns. So,
Right, we can talk offline and walk through that. For how you want to handle it, because normally they wouldn't be reflected on the one. You could show intergovernmental transfers as receipt on theirs and then transferring out. So
okay,
we'll talk offline on that one.
okay, thank you.
And then, I'm back on that page. Wanted to add that the total, it should, foot and cross foot,
Yeah,
those
Yes.
totals.
yes, should put cross foot.
Just another way that make sure that you're on the right page.
Make sure you go. This is the Schedule A2, and this is for your proprietary funds. On here, the sums of columns 2, which is operating expenses, and 4, non-operating expenses are what go on the transmittal page on paragraph 4, to let you know. And then you put how many proprietary funds you have and the expenses, and you add those two. Remember to add both of those columns. And put it on this transmittal page. And make sure that the transfers in and out are also reflected on the transfer schedule sheet. Okay, so we have couple different Schedule Bs. This first one is the big one, like for your big funds, like mostly your general fund. List your revenues, and always remember that the first column, the actual prior year, comes from your budget. Excuse me, not budget, we're doing the budget. From your audit, I apologize. Just make sure that all of those numbers match your audit. And then this second column is your current year. And then we have the tentative approved, and then we have the final. And want to really emphasize this: when you have your tentative numbers, unless we have told you to fix something in the tentative before you show your final budget to your board. And then when you put your final numbers in, your tentative numbers do not change unless there's absolutely no change to your budget after your board meeting. Then just move them over. But if there's changes from your board meeting, do not change your tentative numbers. They do not change.
So to reiterate, if an entity was to send us a tentative budget and we decided that together, we decided that there should be different numbers in that tentative column, that a tentative budget that was approved by us, those are the numbers that should be in there, not the original ones that they submitted.
Yes, correct. But a lot of times we see, when we get the final budget back, we see that all of those numbers have been changed to the final approved, and that is not the case. And so we have schedules B8, 9, 10, and 11, which should be used for your large funds, your general fund. Schedules B12 and B13 should be your medium funds. And then Schedule 14 is small funds. This is the second part of the B8. This is the B9. This is the ending part. We have like I said, and I'll only say it a couple more times. The first, the actual prior from your audit. And we check that. We go through every single one, make sure it isn't changed. And then the beginning fund balance in that is from your audit. And then also make sure that the available resources and then match on Schedule B11, the total commitments and fund balance. Those two numbers we check also, so all four need to match. And the ending fund balance on the current, so revenues, the ending fund balance on the current should come from the audit from the prior year.
The audit's ending fund balance is going to be the current year's beginning fund balance.
Yeah. Good tongue tied, sorry.
We've been working together so long, I know exactly what she means to say.
Exactly. And then, so the B 8 and 9 are the, revenue side of the budget. B 10 and 11 are the expenditure side. And, the same all the way through audit year, current year, budget year. And here's 11, and this is, the totals down there. That's why I said, make sure that the, total general fund commitments and fund balance should match the total available resources on Schedule 9. And we do check that and make sure that the budget flows. And this is the Schedule B12, and this is like one page for like the revenues. And then the B13 is one page for the expenditures. This is like for smaller funds. And then we have one more, the Schedule B4 is if you have a really small fund, it can all go on one page. But if you can not do it, so and I've seen this, people will have like normal size paper funds, and then we'll get this really long one that it takes. Please don't do that. Make sure you break it in half. If it comes off on a legal size, put it in one of the other bigger funds. Unless it's small.
If you only have 1 or 2 line items for your revenues, and then, the typical 4 line items for your expenditures, and the additional ones that are already listed here.
Yeah.
This one's nice because you can see your total revenue resource equals your total expenditure resource. You can see it all on one page.
Yeah.
She's just trying to say, you don't have to have just this top half on one page and then the bottom half on the second page. You have a form here that allows you to put it all in one.
And make sure you have the same funds in your budget that you have in your audit. Okay, Schedule C15. This is debt which is repaid by operating resources. We actually have 2. We have the C15 and we also have the C17, and there's a difference. Schedule C17, use this one if debt is paid with property tax. And if it's not paid with property tax, then use the C15 and 16. And they go together. C15 is the revenue side. And C16 is the expenditure side. And they stay pretty much the same as the others do. And yeah, the only difference is this one is paid by property tax.
Question?
Yes.
On the C15 and C17, if we've paid off debt but used a combination of our own net proceeds and property tax, do I fill out both of them?
No, if it has property taxes on it, you just want to use the one.
Yeah, just use.
And then you can have other sources in there too, but you just want to use the one page. You don't have to list it twice.
Thank you.
Split it up, so yeah.
So just use the C17 then.
Correct.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
17 and 18.
Yeah.
And then if
17
you
and
have
18.
other additional revenues from consolidated taxes or anything, that would be listed there.
Thank you.
Schedule F1 and F2 go together. F1, this is for your proprietary funds, and they usually have their operating revenue, their operating expenses, non-operating revenues, and non-operating expenses. And this is all on this in we've been seeing that column 1, the prior year, needs to match the audit. This is the only place where it may not match the audit because it all of how the auditors did the contributors. So we may not don't worry if it doesn't match the total. And then, F2 is the cash flow side of, F1. You have to have both, you have to have both of them on there. Can't just have F1. Any questions on F, the proprietary?
Hearing none.
No, okay. Schedule C1, it has a list of all of the different types of, debt. Up there, all the different types, and, we used to have just a little asterisk on column 2, and I actually put the type because some people were not putting the type of, we need to know what kind of type of your debt.
Did you take the asterisk off this one? I don't really type, but I think we can, because we say type up here. We mean, what you, yeah, in this column here, you want to put one of these numbers, whether it's medium term, whether it's a general obligation, if it's a revenue bond, what type of debt is it?
Yeah, what, that's what we need to know. And what fund can we find it? So what we do is we go and if we see it there, and we say you have debt and it's, being recorded in the general fund, we go and we make sure that your interest and your principal payments are the same here as they are in your fund. And,
Like in the audit or in the indebtedness.
yeah, we want to make sure that, what you have here shows that, and then when we look at the actual budget, that you actually have the money to pay for your debt. So that's what we're looking for.
Whatever you have here for the interest and principal should be the amount on your B schedules for your expenditure for this.
Yeah.
As well as your F schedules. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, so make sure that those numbers match, because that is one of the things that we look for and that we will have you change. The Schedule T. This is for the transfers in and transfers out. And, the transfers in should match the transfers out. And, there's like 3 different pages of the Schedule T. So if you don't use all of these different fund types, then, feel free to condense this into, if you need that many pages, then please use it. And, but the most important thing is put the page numbers on there and make sure that the page numbers are updated, because we have to go back and we have to find every transfer. We have to make sure that they're there and they're shown, and the transfers in match the transfers out. So page numbers are so very helpful to us. And, any questions so far? This, Schedule 31 is, where you summarize existing contracts with persons and temporary employment services, along with, proposed, expenditures for the contracts for the next 2 fiscal years, for 2020, for 25, 26, and for 26 and 27. And the one that we look for, is your auditor. Do you make sure your auditor is on this page? This last one is the schedule of privatization contracts, in which private entities provide services substantially similar to the services provided by your public employees in lieu of services otherwise required to be provided. So this is the difference between the two. And the same thing, we're doing it for 25, 26 and for 26, 27. Any Any questions?
If your FTEs up in the, on the statistical pages in the very beginning of the budget, if you've dropped your FTE by substantially because you've outsourced a certain project, I would expect to see that vendor for who you outsourced it to here, and then the number of FTEs that you had reduced your governmental expenditures for, because it's now going to be a vendor payment.
And lastly,
How to find us?
how to find us, who does which counties, does the schools, contact, Kelly, if you have any, questions or concerns. We are here to help you, we want you to be in compliance. Any kind of questions you, please call, or give us an email. We're here to help in any way that we can.
While you're preparing these budgets, again, I kind of said that if you have questions, call us while you're preparing it. Ask the questions so that we can help ensure that your budget is submitted correctly, and it'll minimize the number of changes or corrections that the department has to request that you make. It makes it a lot easier, and we are here and available to help answer any questions you have, especially before we start getting those budgets coming in, when the staff gets very busy. Give us a call.
Yes.
And we will send this out.
Yes, I will get a list of who attended and I will, send this out. So, you know, the red, red notes, thank you. Red notes are very helpful in, helping you along with, you got instructions, you have this and everything in order to, we want this to be easy for you.
We will also send out the checklist because that was not included in the original package, so we will share with you in the email from Kelly Down. You'll have that checklist as well. Thank you again for participating in this meeting, and we hope that the budget season goes well for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.